E aqui eu tenho alguns.
Pô, mas aqui sem relógio.
Nice watch collection, bro. So anyways, something a lot of people would overlook, if you go down to the comment section, you see one of the top comments is, let's see. Oh, for those who came from the more plates, more dates, then the needles can be seen at 6:30. What's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be checking out the UFC Cribs episode with Anderson Silva that Faraz Zahabi told me I should check out. Apparently this was a pretty controversial episode because it revealed some interesting shit that Anderson obviously didn't put away before his interview. You know, he let this girl into his house, you know, to get an inside look into Anderson Silva's home life. This was way back in 2011 when he was going to be defending his belt against Vitor Belfort at UFC 126. And apparently this guy forgot to put his PEDs away, or at least some of them, which we're going to be getting into in this video. We'll see exactly what he had out that he probably should have thought twice about, you know, fucking cleaning up ahead of time. Here we go.
Pô, decoração super clean. E aqui, cinturão, né? Pô, o cinturão, um dos cinturões mais...
All right, don't want to get copyrighted, so to be honest, I'm just going to jump ahead to the fucking part in question. Apparently, as he went into his, where is it here? So this is his work office here, and as we get into a nice little collection of figurines here. Got Chuck Liddell, fucking Anderson. Let's see, so here, he's in his closet where he keeps his winter clothes, and apparently, at this point, there's a little bit of a stash that he did not think ahead of time about.
Aqui eu coloco mais as roupas de inverno e tal.
Mostrar pouquinho do estilo do campeão. Olha as blusas.
This is 1.5 million views too. So did this, you know, was this a red flag that made USADA, you know, look at him closer than other individuals and may have led to some, you know, more aggressive testing once USADA was enacted? Hard to say. But anyways, let's continue.
Aqui, ó. Super estilosos.
Nice fucking dress shirt, bro.
É isso? Qual é a sua preferida daqui, ó?
Pô, a minha preferida, aqui é onde eu descanso.
So again,
Aqui é onde eu jogo meu videogame.
if you're not carefully looking, it's like Where's Waldo for GH.
Fico deitado
Got the UFC Undisputed 2000 video game here, PS3, some nostalgia.
aqui na minha caminha. Vamos ver o meu...
Here we are in his closet.
Qual a sua paixão?
And, okay, let's see. Tell me if you can find the fucking GH.
Bom, eu
Relógio,
tenho duas
pelo visto,
paixões, né? Meus tênis e meus relógios, né? Em Curitiba eu tenho alguns também. E aqui eu tenho alguns.
Pô, mas aqui sem relógio.
Nice watch collection, bro. So anyways, something a lot of people would overlook, if you go down to the comment section, you see one of the top comments is, let's see. Oh shit, for those who came from the more plates, more dates, then the needles can be seen at 6:30. That's funny. There was another top comment. 5 years ago, 540, Norditropin GH on the right-hand side of the screen in the purple box. 15 replies. Wow, good eye. How did this not blow up? I guess pre-USADA. Pre-USADA, it's a small item caught on camera. You'd have to know what it looks like, spot it in the first place, and it's not like this video was viewed by the entire MMA community to boot. Hi, how do you know it's GH? Link, please. Those types of syringes, Novofine, are specifically used for growth hormone, which is why a link is unnecessary. Growth hormones aren't illegal if you cope with them. What the fuck? Except they're banned both in and out of the UFC. So anyways, let's go up and see the exact thing we're talking about here. Again, right here.
Relógios, né? Em Curitiba eu tenho alguns também.
So, something a lot of people go overlook because it's not like this is what you'd be looking at for a Norditropin box. This is a 30 milligram pen specifically. They come in different variations with different allocations of dosage burden per pen. Obviously, the theme of the box will differ accordingly depending on the color. Notice the Norditropin Flex Pro and the way these things use these, pen attachments. Only people who've really used this shit would know to look for that. Now, again, some of those caps can be used on things like GLP-1 agonists, and they look very, very fucking similar, if not near identical. If not actually being exactly the same. To be honest, I would have to go look myself to determine, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty goddamn similar. I highly doubt they would use a different sharp attachment. But again, this was back in 2011. At the time, were the GLP-1s even, using this same technology? I'm not 100% sure. I would have to go look at the historical development and release of those compounds specifically. But in the community that knows about this shit, it's pretty easy to point out when you have this very obvious attachment for these specific pharma pens. And it's pretty damning, suggestive evidence at least. Now, sure, he could have somebody in his family that, is using this shit. Maybe it's not him, but I mean, the fact that this is, his like personal space, this is his personal shit. Here's, his video games. This is his closet. I like to rest in my bed. Now let's check my closet specifically. And we get into his closet that contains all of his personal shit. And we see plain as day in the background these fucking Novo pen tips, bro. And it doesn't really reflect too well on the fact that I imagine this might have had something to do with how scrutinous his oversight was. When USADA came into the picture, like, it had 1.5 million views. Do you think this didn't bleed out into the community in some aspect where it's like a lot of these higher sensitivity tests too? Now, again, it's not like Anderson ever popped for GH specifically, but a lot of these higher sensitivity tests, you're not going to roll out unless you have a red flag that kind of justifies further exploration. Guys like TJ Dillashaw, getting tested for EPO. Is this a traditional test that's deployed on every single fighter? Or are you going to use HGH differential immunoassay on every single fighter? No, you're not. A lot of these things are only going to be rolled out in the case of the justification for high sensitivity testing on top of, standard longitudinal data of hematology, on top of standard, urine analysis of steroids and their metabolites and whatnot. You're not necessarily going to roll out the highest level, most expensive testing for every single guy. And again, he never tested positive for this shit, but I certainly would not be surprised if this kind of contributed to a higher level of scrutiny on his career following the enactment of USADA. So, I don't know, did anyone notice this shit back in the day? Like, I'm sure I saw this video too, like way back when Anderson was in his, prime of just nuking dudes in dramatic fashion. He was one of the most exciting people to watch, and I imagine a lot of us saw this video when it first came out. And I don't know how many people caught it, because it's, again, how many people would even know what they're looking at when they see it? And this is 5 years ago. You see these pen tips here. Interesting thing was, you get the better look at it here, of course. And, it doesn't look too favorable, bro. So, anyways, was he sauced throughout the entirety of his career? This is an interesting question I proposed to Faraz, and apparently is the reason why the GSP Anderson Silva super fight never happened is there were certain terms that GSP had that needed to be met. Every fighter has their own terms, I guess, and these contractual obligations to one another in order to make a very, very high-level super fight, take place. And if people aren't meeting each other's demands, things don't line up and it doesn't fucking happen. Whether that has to do with drug testing, whether it has to do with whatever it is, it never happened. But the interesting thing to me was the fact that GSP pushed for drug testing, and apparently at the time it was not scrutinous enough for him to feel comfortable, engaging with Anderson in this super fight, or at least that's what is suggested. And I wouldn't be surprised if it boiled down a lot to that. You can check out my conversation with Faraz for a more deep dive into that. He kind of outlines the, pre-USADA speculation, the Johnny Hendricks thing, UFC potentially encouraging him to not, pursue thorough, high-level drug testing with VADA prior to the fight with GSP. It's all pretty fucking insightful shit, and it's interesting how it's being rehashed again, years later, because a lot of this stuff gets put under the microscope when more context and information comes out, and people know what kind of questions to ask now. So, again, back then, was Anderson already sauced to the gills back in, 2011? Certainly doesn't look like it, Certainly doesn't look like the standard juice head, but it doesn't mean your physique has to be representative of a Vitor Belfort to be on fucking gear, Anderson has popped before, and whether it was, prevalent throughout his entire career, that's up for speculation, but I would not be surprised if he was, even in his fucking heyday, in his prime, using certain shit, because it's certainly, the window was open for it back then. So, anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I thought this was really interesting, especially the fact that this video is just sitting there live on the UFC channel. 12.3 million subscribers, and just plain as day sitting here. Not evidence of anything, of course, but very, very suggestive nonetheless. All the comments help the algorithm. They're much appreciated. Like, subscribe. Thank you to Faraz for pointing this out because I didn't even know about this. So very, very interesting shit to dig into. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, drop a comment, helps the algorithm. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplacemoredates.com. Follow me on Instagram, at moreplacemoredates, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My TRT clinic, it's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. Get high quality oversight from doctors who actually know what kind of biomarkers to dig into, how to interpret them, what kind of diagnostics you should be getting to stay on top of your health and optimize your quality of life. Most of these clinics, unfortunately, are cookie cutter testosterone mills, and this is not what we do. We pride ourselves in being different than the rest. We pride ourselves in our high quality service, medical oversight, and education of our patients. Rather than making markups on the meds, we make our money, and our bread and butter is the diagnostics and interpretation of them and education of our patients. So check that out if you want a high quality doctor who will have your best interests in mind. You can check that out in the video description below, as well as anything else I'm associated with. Gorilla Mind, nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode, pre-workout formulas, I designed myself from scratch. My recommended diet model for muscle growth and sports performance whilst staying mindful of micronutrient intake, gut health, etc. This diet model is idiot proof. It's basically a newbie 101 guide to how to make a optimal diet model for not a bulk, but a gaining phase where you were trying to maximize hypertrophy and strength gains whilst also maximizing the vector of staying as healthy as possible, which a lot of these cookie cutter influencer diets off Instagram that sell cookie cutter plans and whatnot that have no real research or insight behind them. They're just fucking if it fits your macros and hit your protein kind of diets. This is totally different from that, and I highly recommend you check it out if you want a very turnkey guide to muscle growth and maximizing all vectors of performance. You can check that out, as well as the shirts I wear in my video, my clothing sponsor. Great for the gym, great for, going out in any kind of event. To be honest, they have a pretty diverse catalog at this point of athletic wear, leisure wear, literally going out wear. Like, it's pretty fucking diverse, and the stuff is actually very high quality. I'm very happy with it. I'm starting to really, really proportionally wear more of this stuff than like anything else in my wardrobe. So you can check that out in the video description below, as anything else, as well as anything else that supports me, helps support the brand growth and whatnot. And it's all much appreciated when you guys use my codes and my links and whatnot for anything I'm associated with or things I own or whatever it is. So thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.